Link's Awakening has always been that Zelda I've never really been able to get my hands on. Many years ago when I was a dumb child I found it at my local game store, but only after I bought it did I discover the internal battery was corrupt, and the game was unable to save my data. I brought it back, Jimmy GameStop was unable to fix it, so I had to return it. In exchange I ended up buying Oracle of Ages, and while that game is great, ever since then I've had a bad taste in my mouth over Link's Awakening. Fast forward about a decade later and a Link's Awakening Switch remake is announced. Initially I really didn't know how to feel. Sure, I was excited because it was another Zelda game coming out, but I don't know, the excitement of it really didn't hit me right away. I knew I was still going to end up getting it no matter what. I mean, come on, it's Zelda. Maybe I would have been pumped right away if I had played the Game Boy version. Maybe it was a mistake I didn't. Or maybe it was fate. Let's assume that if you're watching this, you have a pretty basic understanding of the plot. Just in case you don't, here's a quick rundown. Link's trying to find the nearest Macdons when Mother Nature gets a little angry, causing our hero to wash ashore on the beautiful Koholint Island. Jokes aside, and without spoiling too much, I actually love the story of Link's Awakening. There are some bits that make it really easy to figure out what's going on, but overall I really enjoyed it and the ending was very bittersweet. Exploring Link's Awakey Earthquakey was some of the most fun I had while playing. The first few hours when the game is at its simplest are just pure fun, getting to talk to everyone, run around, all while enjoying the game's adorable aesthetic. Speaking of, I know there's a lot of people that might not like this art style, but I love it. The game just oozes charm. Even as I was ready to rip my own various body parts off trying to figure out a stupid puzzle, I really could never stay too mad because it's just adorable, dog. Anyways, exploring the world actually reminded me a lot of a Metroidvania type game. It was a lot like I was playing Hollow Knight again, constantly checking the map to see where I am, coming back to old areas just to use new items. I know this isn't super new to Zelda games and all that, but I've never seen it as prevalent as I did in Link's Awakey Eggs and Bakey. Don't get me wrong, I love the dungeons. Whenever I would get stuck on something and get this close to finding Miyamoto's house, I would figure out where to go next and it's such a rewarding feeling. I truly think these dungeons are some of the best the series has seen, but god damn if they aren't annoying at times. In every dungeon there was always one or two spots that were so tricky for me to figure out but had the easiest solution. Now granted, I have a severe case of dumb brain, but my point still stands. My favorite dungeon to go through was probably Eagle's Tower. It was really frustrating getting this stupid ball thing around and having to go through every floor like 80 times. But like I mentioned before, it's really rewarding to figure it all out. And while the boss fight is super easy, it just looks super cool, man. Speaking of boss fights, Link's Awakey Nakey Jakey has the biggest, babiest of bosses that I've ever seen. Most of them die in just a few hits, especially after you upgrade your attack power. Some mini bosses take like 2 hits to kill, and the big bosses are not much better at all. I get the trickery and the main point of the dungeons is clearly puzzle solving and not your combat ability, but still it always felt kinda lackluster to find the boss and just dump truck him. Now while I've mostly sung Link's Awakey Somebody Bake Me a Cake's praises, I have to acknowledge some of its faults. First off, we'll get this out of the way, the frame rate. It's really not a big deal, but it was pretty obvious that the frame rate would take a dip whenever you would have to reload the map or something like that. I don't mind it so much as the game looks fantastic and still for the most part runs smoothly, but every now and then it was pretty hard not to notice. On top of that, while I mentioned some of the dungeons can be insanely complicated, it also can be on the complete other side of that and be really hand-holdy at times. There's one particular part after beating the first dungeon where you're in the little dreamscape thing, you get a hint about where to go next. That's pretty neat, right? It essentially told you where to go, but was still vague enough to where it's okay. Then immediately the owl flies in and tells you exactly what to do, exactly where to go. Sure, I get it, it's the first dungeon, some players are going to need a little extra guidance and all that, but this wasn't the only time something like that happened. The worst problem though, is why the hell is there no warp point included in the main village or at least on the beach? I have to warp to the prairie every time, walk all the way over to the town, all the way down to the beach. It's just exhausting. God damn it, Sakurai. Overall though, I went into Link's Awakening expecting a fun journey, but I got so much more. The story, while not exactly expansive, is wonderful, and compared to Zelda standard is some of the best storytelling there's ever been. The music tracks are such boppers. The calming village tune, the adventurous theme of Tall Tall Heights, and the beautiful ballad of the Windfish. That song is actually so good and it's anime as fuck. My favorite tune might actually be the end credits. It's just a combination of all the yummy tasty tracks out there. The characters, dude, the characters are so fun. While there's only a handful that you get to see fairly often throughout the story, there are still so many you get to meet and learn about. You got the little old lady sweeping with her jacked arms, Marin, the girl who rescued you and has a massive crush on you. The owl's kind of annoying, but he's still a homie. Crazy Tracy, constantly providing you with whatever that ointment is. Bow Wow, that guy's a G. And even Mario and Luigi make an appearance. Side note, when you look at this guy on the Zelda Gamepedia, he becomes God. I am genuinely surprised how much I love this game. I feel like I've said everything I wanted to, but at the same time feel like I could go on for hours and hours. It's almost everything I want in a 2D Zelda wrapped up in an adorable little package. I did only just beat the game, so I'm pretty biased right now, but still, I feel like I'm easily putting this into my top 5, probably even top 3. I give Link's Awakening 5 earthquakey, egg and bakey, nakey jakey, somebody bake me a cakeys out of 5. I'm looking forward to Breath of the Wild 2 coming out hopefully sooner rather than later, but man, if I'm not already wishing for a perfect combo of Link's Awakening and A Link Between Worlds. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and thank you so much for watching.